says making sure everything is correct. Oh, here we are. What is this? Really? Oh, really? And Rex, you get up right through the... Hey, what's up, Scott Balkan, with the Imagination Creation Films? And today it is Friday, December 27th, 2024, the last live stream of the... Why? Go back and lay in your spot, you little turkey. Why'd you get up? We got lots to do here. Oh, wait, hold on. We got lots of audio going on here. We got to stop that. There we go. Okay, so yeah, it is a wonderful stop. I said. Oh, okay. We're doing this too. Okay. Wow, we're just going everywhere. Audio coming up. Wow, there's just an empty carpet spot where my pup is. We'll fix that. So it is a wonderful and glorious day. I don't know why I just read some really bad news right before the live. That kind of like threw me off just a minute there. But yeah, we're live streaming. Good to be back. We got Scotty V. He says, "Hey man, what's up, Scotty V? How are you?" It is hopefully get back into the swing of things. I got lots of changes coming, but lots of standards coming too. Lots of little announcements and things. We'll just kind of go through all those and kind of chit chat. Hopefully this is going out to the world. If not, so be it. Jedi. What does it say? We have a handful of people on. That's cool. That's it is what it is. It's my own doing, my own fault. Everything is my fault. So the last week I was Santa Claus for Brandon Washington, their live stream, and after that I was kind of exhausted. I was having to do wardrobe changes and kind of just come up with stuff on the fly that was unplanned, and it was it was kind of exhausting. So I didn't want to live after that. I just didn't feel like it, and I almost didn't live today because I've got kind of a splitting headache. But I'm hoping that this conversation can help bring my brain back to happiness and non-painville. JB Cameraman, hi, happy Christmas from the UK. Hello there, JB Cameraman. Happy Christmas from America. Good to see you from this side of the ocean, Atlantic. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing good? You all keeping busy and doing all the good things? We got, hey there, Rob. How are you over there at the Curmudgeon in Alaska? Really cool place. I'll have his video where I go and visit him on my Alaska channel, which is linked down below. I'll have him in 2 more videos. I was editing his video last night. Definitely a fun video out there. Having a lot of fun. Mr. Daniel Stilling. Hey, Daniel, fun fact, and I didn't want to bother you after the live stream. 30 minutes after we completed the live stream, got copyright flagged for it was for that music video of all things. And we didn't play the audio at all, but it had everything mapped. So I think, or no, it was the audio. I think we played it in the background slightly. It picked up on it and nailed it. So I had to mute 2 minutes, but I just thought that was hilarious. We had talked about it, all those little things. You just never know, and it was the little thing, and we didn't know. Good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well in this late evening. If you're still overseas, which I'm sure you are, I hope you're having a wonderful and fantastic holiday. King, good to see you. Hopefully you are also having a wonderful and fun holiday. We have New Year's coming up. Hope y'all are doing something fun and exciting for New Year's. I don't think we have anything planned for what is this? Visible when streaming to a Facebook profile unless the stream is set to public. Okay, well, thank you for taking up all my screen real estate to tell me that. Crazy. Yeah, I don't think I have anything planned for New Year's. Yeah, just more stuff. Rumen, good evening, sir. How are you? Hope you're doing well. I wanted to, Brandon Washington does a really good a show right before my show, so he just takes all the wind out of my sails, so I don't get to have any fun anymore. So we'll just do our own thing. We'll do. What are you gonna do? You gonna lay right there? Go lay on the carpet like a good boy, so I can get you back in frame. Oh, you're gonna lay. You're gonna. Oh, okay. I see. We're going to get him back in frame here. Hold on. Let's go see where he is. There we are. And now boop, there's a puppy. We've got a Rexor back in the mix. He was just kind of, I guess, a little dismayed at all the weirdness happening in the world. Ruben says, I wasn't at Brandon's Live today, so I'm all yours today. Just don't make me dance. Don't make me dance. They always have a fun time over there. They have the right, I think they have the right mix. And by having somebody on, having two people, it's kind of like almost a radio show. I'd love to do that. I need to do it regularly with guests. Get back to that, like we had Mr. Stilling on, Dan. We do have a guest. Actually, let me. I did start scheduling these out. So the 3rd. So next Friday, we actually have Mutiny. We're going to have them on. We'll have Mike and Avery, and then their new person that they have on, I think, might join in, maybe not, we'll see. But they have apparently a lot of cool new stuff, and it's always nice to just talk to them just because they have lots of answers out there in the world, and they make lots of cool stuff. But we'll have Mutiny on next Friday, and then we're lining up some more guests because I think that really helps move things, and just keeps it from just being the Scott and Rex show, which everybody's just tuning in for Rex anyway. Danny says, still in Texas, you need a T-minus clock on the feed. Yeah, we're getting a lot closer. We had some conversations this past, well, I guess holiday, just talking with the family and just letting them know what's going on, and kind of we're getting real close now. We're actually looking for a real estate agent, so we'll be trying to find somebody to come here and chit chat. Somebody who, if y'all have dealt with real estate agents, there's like 2 or 3 different types. There's the worst type, which is they are so special that you are so lucky for them to represent you. And by represent, what they literally do is they just put your information into the MLS and hit enter, and just ride that out. Not looking for that. There are the people who will come and chat and say hello and then never communicate. Not looking for them either. What I'm looking for is one that's going to come out here and see what we have so that they know how to sell this, because it's not just a house. It's an experience. But there's more to it than just a house. So we're looking for that real estate agent who's going to, get off their rear end. And, you got to think about the price of houses these days, and that commission, that is not a tiny amount of money. And you know what? You're going to have to do more than put it in a database, because I can do that. So yeah, we've got that. We're literally planning on doing that in the next week, and then it's get that done rapidly. So as far as a countdown, I mean the countdown really will almost certainly be when the house sells, then we'll have kind of an ability to do a countdown per se, because it's not, there's not a set like moment that we can just jump up and go when everything happens. We got to do a few things, but we can get a countdown going. King says, "Are you making ribs or on horseradish, grilled onions, and provolone on ciabatta sandwiches for New Year's?" No. Ribs on horseradish. What is that? I like horseradish. I like ribs. Depends on the kind of ribs. Grilled onions, I could totally dig grilled onions. Provolone, ciabatta sandwiches. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's a little interesting. It sounds delicious. I'm going to start dieting here really soon too. We'll be hitting that hard because I want to be not Santa for Alaska. You know, I got to figure out how to straighten myself. It's cold in here too. And for those of you wondering, I am not going to be burning a prop today just because of my headache. It's you know, it's one of those things. Rumen says, I like the guest, but I also really like it when you are alone. As you are reading everyone's comments, that in itself is a bit special. Oh, I appreciate that. And I do want to have those. I mean, I can't do a guest every week. I would be exhausted. Let's see, comment from Instagram. Do you think there will be a new Red camera with Nikon? Asking that in a way, I have to be super careful now, because there are things that companies have people do and write on paper that prevent people from even discussing things that get written on paper, and then anything that progresses further. So like I said, I have to be very careful. Do I think there will be? I personally believe so. Yes, that is my answer for that. But like I said, I have to be very careful. Scotty says, I know a few real estate agents, but they might be a little south for you in your roles. Yeah, it needs to be someone that knows country, because I'm not a city guy. This is not a city place, and nobody from the city is buying this unless, you know, it's that time to just get out of the city. But they're not going to want to buy from someone who's a city real estate. So it needs to be somebody that sells in country. But yeah, I hear you, and I appreciate that. Carlos, or shall we just call you Q? Hey, Scott, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas to you there, Q. Carlos, I like the whole Q thing. You're just like, you know what? I'm just going to take a letter of the alphabet. That's me. And then he says, Prima Donna Real Estate Agents, you are in the hot spot area of Texas. I'm in Longview, outside the bubble. Yeah, Austin has gone way down. They're down 15% from last year in their, I guess, asking prices or what have you, what they're selling for. But Austin was a couple of years ago like 100,000 plus over asking price. So that was a bubble. Plus, I'm not Austin. I'm just generically in the area of Austin. And I'm also not Austin in that you don't go to Austin to find my property. You go looking for property that happens to be near a town or so. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to say about that. Rob says, we will run a countdown to arrival on our... That sounds good, King Kirk. Yeah, doesn't it? It kind of does. Rob used to be You said you worked at a kitchen or chef. You were as a chef for like 15 years, I think, Rob. It was quite a bit. We have a challenge. Who's going to move first? You to Alaska or I to the Netherlands? Well, I don't know how much you want to move to the Netherlands. If you want to move to the Netherlands a whole lot, then I hope we get there as fast as we both can and we both win. If you so want to be there, then I hope I win. I hope I win so fast. King says you're closer to Holland than Scott is to cold to cold Texas. Yeah, cold Texas. It's actually cold here today. I don't know why it's not. It's not actually cold outside. Oh, it's definitely not cold outside. That's weird. Let me see what it is here. The studio being nicely insulated and large, it does really well at holding in whatever temperature it was. So it was cold. Last night, I didn't realize that. Let me hit refresh here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was 39 degrees this morning. It's now 78 degrees outside, but not in here. Not in here. It's definitely not. Let's see. Kermudge says, chef in a ski lodge in Vail for 5 years. Oh, did you have to talk like this? Excuse me, sir. Would you like to have some more butter for your bread, sir? I like ski lodges. I always like that look. Oddly enough, your place has that look. Ruben says, King Kruk, true. Let me throw some conversational topics for 2024 and 2025 in this mix, so you can all like throw your opinions in here, because I definitely want to chit chat about this, because I'm really good at telling you that we're going to do that, and then we don't do it. So let's do it this time. So this is from a story. Netflix executives tell screenwriters that they want the characters to announce what they're doing so that viewers who have a program on in the background can follow along. I mean, right off the bat, my opinion, hell no. No, not at all. In fact, if a movie does that, I won't watch the movie. I promise. Because I'm a visual guy. I'm watching a movie. What they're really asking for is old-time radio, like 1930s radio. Why not just do that? If you're literally asking for that, just do that. Then they could just put it on in the background like a podcast, and you could tell the stories that way. It's like Jimmy walks into a room and sees. Well, actually, they don't want a narrator. They want Jimmy to go, "I'm walking in a room. Oh my gosh, I see red everywhere. What is this liquid? It could be. Is it?" And then they say, "What is it?" That's what they're asking for. Let's see. I want to make sure there we go. So there's that. We could talk about that. We could talk about AI further, because if y'all have seen Google's AI, their latest AI video version, which is way better than Sora is, and pretty good at a lot of things, it's really interesting. But there's some interesting thing, and I will talk a little bit about my journey playing with some AI at some point. Also, Hollywood in general. So there was this movie that I thought was pretty good. It was Wolves. Did y'all see it with George Clooney and Brad Pitt? That movie was supposed to go in the theater. And Apple, at the last minute, said, book, and pulled it. They're not putting it in the theater. They just went streaming. That apparently ticked off, I don't know if it ticked off Brad and George as much as the director, who said, absolutely not, I'm not doing Wolves 2, because he was apparently in line to they were just going to do it. And he pulled out and he says, no, won't ever work with Apple again because of that. That's interesting. Is that the future? Is the future everything just goes straight streaming, no more movie theaters, and we now have to announce exactly what we're doing? I am reading from a teleprompter, but it's not a teleprompter. But I want you to know that. You can see it, but I want you to know that. So let's see, what are some other things? I'm interested in if there's any money left in this industry, where that money is going to go, and to what extent is that going to go? I answered kind of two parts in one, but like, where's that going to get divided up? How are we going to see that? Because I think we're in for quite a bit of change here. What in the world was that? That was weird. Let's see here. We've got King that says, Comanche in Alaska, did you ever have to make some medium rare elk with blackberry jelly? Ooh, that sounds delicious, actually. Although elk is not very tender. I would think medium rare would not be very good. I could probably bike there, and it would take me like 2 or 3 days. Rob says, I made a lot of crazy things over the years. No, that's so dumb. If you watch a movie, watch the movie. That's not a podcast. See, exactly. I just think old time radio is literally what it is. I mean, it's just, hey, Cinema Quilt, good to see you. I think it's literally like if you watch the movie A Christmas Story and they're sitting around the radio and they're like, it's time to tune in for Little Orphan Annie. And here you are. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like to me. Yeah. I don't not look at that. Scott, are you converting any of your Komodos to full spectrum? I am not converting to full spectrum. If I were, I still have the video. I haven't completed it. I shot a whole video on the full spectrum Komodo. I need to get that done. That would not take a whole lot of effort. I would assume. I'm trying to remember what. I think it's because. Yeah, I remember why it was. Okay, I think I have a better place actually to finish that now. But yeah, I shot a whole thing on that. The full spectrum was okay. I was more excited and enjoyed the monochrome full spectrum myself. I found the monochrome to just be super cool. But you know, that's me. Don't they have the audio narration available already? I think you know what? That is true. But, you know, I find that extremely annoying too. I get it. I understand it, but whew. Farrell Zintac says, hi, Scott. Wonder if you have thought about your choices for best products of 2024. Best camera, lenses, and gear. I have some thoughts on that, and I almost lost my crock. Wow. Man, I forget when I do live streams, I have to put them in sport mode with the strap in the back, or else when I put my feet on the bar stool rail, they come off. I don't know about you, but I can't be barefoot. I just can't do it. Yeah, I have some thoughts. We can certainly chat about that on all of the above. Balcom Awards are definitely necessary, regardless of the comment section going in an uproar for their favorite brand. Interesting. When talking about movies, recently watched Extraction, and I was amazed by the oneers. I've seen others, but not like this one. Yes, Extraction and Extraction 2 both have serious oneers. Extraction had some really good oneers, really good ones. Watch on Netflix right now. Fortunately, they didn't do narration, thank God. But it's Jason Bateman It's called Poop. What's it called? Oh, it's an airport movie, but it's pretty good. It takes some twists and turns. At first, it was a little bit too much like another movie, and I don't want to spoil it. But then it really did some twists and turns. But there's an action oneer in there that is incredible, kind of like Crazy, and I like that. Also, the one with The Rock and Deadpool guy. Uh, that was like 4 years ago, where they had Komodo doing the oneer on the FPV. That one was also insane. Stephen F says, ah! Hi. Let's see here. Have you improved your fusion skills? I have, actually. I have improved quite a bit. I've been trying to pick up a few little things here and there to throw into videos that I can use, and then I want to turn around and teach those once I learn them in an effective way that I can share. Because some of that teaching I want to do again. I'm tired of not doing it. So yes, I hope the big productions go to smaller production companies all over the country and out of Hollywood. That, I believe, is going to happen. I'd like to see the government get out of D.C. in the same way, similar reasons. Yeah, I mean, there's there. Let's just phrase it this way: the bigger the machine, the slower it delivers what it wants. That's probably the best way to describe that. I guess politically, Hollywood, cell phone companies, Apple, you name it. The bigger they are, the slower they move, and the less they're interested in what you have to say, and more interested in what they have to say. Which, was always the thing that we all loved about Red, was they were such a small company and they listened intently. What I can tell you about the Nikon Red thing is they're still listening. They're just not talking. And that, it is a super big annoyance. I hate saying super in front of everything. Yeah, that's it. From now on, it's just going to be 35. No more Super 35. No. It is annoying when, yeah. I've made my point. Scotty, thank you for the comment. Carry on, JB. Carry on. Oh, Carry On. Yes, Carry On. Yeah, yes, Carry On. It was a really good one as well. And yeah, the oneer was, the oneer, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is too cool. What is happening? It was kind of cool. But the movie lacked, but also redeemed itself quite a bit. There was another movie that was almost exactly like it, except it wasn't in an airplane, and I thought that was interesting. For The Extraction, they did use the Komodo, and the director apparently is a stunt double of Captain America, and he is the one who would operate the most dangerous shots. Oof. What do you think about Denmark buying the U.S. and joining the EU, the land of no plastic straws and Apple AI? Okay, so when I heard, just briefly going into not political, but just the stories of politics, our new president was saying that Canada was going to be the 51st state, and everybody kind of knew he was joking. Even Canada knew that he was joking. That it was all a kind of a joke. And then he makes the comment about Panama, and everybody's like, okay, right. And then he makes the comment about buying Greenland. And I, I'm like, okay, this is just trolling. It's got to be trolling. And then apparently he said, no, he's serious. And so that got me is like, okay, what is so fantastic about Greenland, or not necessarily not fantastic, but what is it about Greenland? Why that? And I just started looking at it. It is it is a huge place. It is the size of Alaska, basically. Uh, it has 56,000 people in the whole place. It is not a country. It is a territory of Denmark, which I was like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Uh, and then it Denmark has been like pushing it under its own control for a while, but I guess it's still technically under Denmark. And I just started thinking, I was like, is it for sale? I mean, because like, what's that number look like? How much do you have to go to Denmark and say we would like to buy Greenland? Because nobody buys property anymore like that. And is that number $100 billion? I doubt it. I mean, the funny thing is, I think the GDP of Greenland is something like $26 billion. It's nothing. Not saying anything negative about Greenland. I mean, it actually is a pretty place. It was just interesting to me. How do you offer that? And if it's $26 billion, how does a Bill Gates not go, I'll give you 26, how about 27? And then you got the guy at the end, hey, we got 27, we got 28, how about 28, 28? All right, we got Bill Gates with a 27, 28. I mean, do we end up with a bidding war? Does Denmark go, you know what? No, we actually like Greenland. It's nice. We're going to keep that. Uh, does that even happen anymore? The only way the territories, how about that, become part of something else is by voting that way, or they just get taken. And I would like to think that that is not America. We're not takers. I mean, pretty much our track record on that is we take and then we give right back, which is a little weird. But yeah, I thought that was a little strange. But okay. King says Greenland could be a sweet vacation. It is a neat place, but I think it's only neat for about 4 months out of the year. Then it's just like really cold. And it's a lot of native population there. I'm not sure what the correct term, like Inuit maybe, or something like that. It's basically a native population. What do they want? I mean, it's kind of their thing. But more interestingly enough, what do we want it for? What are we thinking? We're like, Greenland. I like Greenland. It's green. No, it's not. It's white. It's very, very icy. Let's see here. Ruben says, it's a great strategical place. It's not for sale, but the locals don't like the Danes as much as the Danes are colonized it, kind of like the Native American situation, but I don't think they would sell. I guess it would depend. Everything has a price, Roman, for sure. Uh, but what would they get out of it? What would they be looking for? My guess is if they were interested in selling, I doubt they would want to move. They're not like, well, I want Wyoming, or something like that. They probably really, really like where they live because they live there. So they probably don't want it sold, but maybe they sell the part that's irrelevant, and for that they get to be. So I don't know. I don't know what the financial struggles are of Greenland. Other than I think the largest city is like 26,000 people, and then every other city is a town of like 100 or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting, but I would imagine that everything is for sale. I mean, 56,000 people. You offered them each, $1 million. Uh, that's not that much money, and A lot of people might go, $1 million, sure. But then, maybe you offer them $10 million, and all of a sudden they go, yeah. And who knows? Who knows? Uh, I mean, it would be kind of funny to just skip across the world and never have to show your passport. I do think it would be. I do think it would be cool if Canada became part of the U.S. I don't think Canada wants that. I don't think. I don't. I mean, I'm just speaking. I think it would be cool to not have another country sitting between other countries. I know that's kind of like the EU does, kind of thing. But I mean, that's up to Canada. I I would say that I would not want Canada to join the United States as how many territories are in Canada? Six or four, whatever that is. I would not want each one of them to be a state, but I also kind of feel like if you just made everything one state, that would feel a little silly too because Canada's kind of big. Kind of a weird one, yeah. The Vikings named Greenland Iceland and Iceland Greenland to keep people from going to Iceland. I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds very plausible. Um, let's see here. Let me put it this way: no one wants to join the U.S. government. I mean, I think you would probably find that half of America doesn't want to be part of the U.S. government anymore. From what I know, Greenland is doing pretty well. Denmark is taking good care of it. So, what I understood from what I read, I mean, who knows if it's true, but Denmark has basically kind of pushed them off to themselves and said, you control yourselves now. That they are, I think, almost entirely in control of their own selves. Um, Except for I think there's like a little asterisk in there where Denmark still controls them. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that was a whole lot of interesting reading that I had to do quickly. Keep America what it is. There are too many McDonald's polluting the world. I mean, think about it this way, Scotty V. McDonald's is all over the world anyway. It has nothing to do with the U.S. at this point. There's a McDonald's in Korea. There's South Korea. There's many of them, and they serve South Koreans South Korean McDonald's food. Um, I mean, they're everywhere. So I don't think that's the issue. I I personally would love to be able to move about the world relatively easily, but I also don't want England to have to do what U.S. says, or I don't want the U.S. to have to do with England. It's kind of like the states in the U.S. I really like that the U.S. has 50 states, and those states have rights as well under the government. I kind of like that kind of division. I think that ultimately, is that how the EU technically is now? I mean, they're part of it, but it's not really it's more like I guess, an economy. I don't know. It's kind of weird. World things. Joking about culture, for sure. There's plenty of culture to push around on everybody. Just like I don't know that I want gravy on my French fries. I'm just saying. I don't know. um, let's see here. Um, another conversation would be, what do we all expect will happen in 2025? Because I think there's a lot of unknowns in 2025 for sure. Rumen says they provide financial support, but they do operate as their own state. But I think Denmark still has some control if they want. No, I'm pretty sure they have the control over them ultimately, but that they don't want it. And I think I may be an idiot here. I think Canada is somewhat the same way under England. That Canada really is its own thing, but for somehow it's still technically under the crown. But I don't think it is fully. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I was researching that one day just for boredom. You know how you get on those Wikipedia, you just kind of start flipping through stuff, and you're like, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this, and then you go rabbit hole, and the world is your oyster at that point. Couple of things that may or may not be interesting for you. Um, the Alaska channel, which is linked down below there somewhere. I am posting videos to it now, a little more regularly. Kind of. I mean, you're still getting stuff from a couple of months ago, in some respects. So my vlogging skills are not quite what they are today, which you'll start to get caught up there. But stuff is starting to come out a little more regularly on that. On here, stuff is coming out. Hopefully, you're noticing more regular. We'll have another video on Tuesday on the channel here, and then I think what I'm doing, I haven't decided, but the Alaska may come out on Monday or Saturday, and then this one will come out on Tuesdays. And then we, of course, have our live talk here on Fridays. But also, in 2025, I'm going to be doing a podcast. I have no idea if it will ever be anything more than me just talking to a microphone for an hour plus or whatever it ends up being. It'll be audio only for quite a while. I don't really want to make it video because I want it to be quick. I want it to be easy. And the podcast, the best way to describe it is the podcast is going to be basically whatever I'm interested in. It's not going to be film centric. It will talk about film. It will almost certainly not have politics in it, but it will probably have everything else. Anything that's interesting. Cooking will be in there. Artistry will be in there. Technology will be in there. Science will be in there. The drones, the evil drones over New Jersey. I'll be sure they'll talk about that. Talk about aliens and ghosts, and not so much. I'm intrigued by that stuff, so I'll probably talk about it. Think of it as a lack of or a Joe Rogan style without any politics in it. It'll just be things that are interesting to me. But I will have guests on there. I believe at this point, Cynthia is on board to kind of do it with me. So, yeah, that sounded dirty, didn't it? But I'll participate in the podcast with me. So it might be interesting. I'll have more on that in the future. We haven't done one yet, but we've put together a kind of little podcast setup that we'll be taking down as soon as we move, but it's, movable. But that is something also to talk about. Let's see. For the EU, most countries use euro currency. We can travel between them without border check. Each country has their own laws, but some laws that need to be. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. It was more of a freedom of movement. And we used to have that with Mexico and Canada, and now we don't. It's kind of like, okay, all right, fine. And then podcast would be great. Would it be live? I don't think so. I kind of want it to be a produced podcast in that if I go off on a tangent that's just not memorable, I don't want anybody to have to suffer through that. So I think it would be edited. See, it's always off. Editable that way. Plus, I think keeping it to a period of time will be will be important, I think. That being said, that period of time will vary quite a bit, and I suspect it will be an hour at first, and then 2 hours, and then who knows? Y'all know I can talk. Y'all do know I can talk. So the question is, am I even live streaming on Facebook? I don't know that I am. I am. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. It's this new thing. So I did win a copy of Ecamm from Brennan. So I'm actually interested in trying that one out. We'll see how that goes. I should have some more fun with it. Luca. Hey, Scott. Ciao, Rex. Happy New Year to you all. Happy New Year to you, Luca, and all of the YouTubes. Ruben says, I think it is not much different than the U.S., to be honest. You have one government, but each state can have their own policies and laws. No more politics, I promise. Yeah, I just know that many Americans to ask. No, I mean, America is defined as 50 states part of a single government. So you have this hierarchy of the U.S. government can tell the states certain things as long as the U.S. government has that power over the states. The states can tell counties and cities or parishes or boroughs or whatever they go by, that kind of thing. But Canada cannot tell the U.S. and the U.S. cannot tell Canada. And I think the EU is basically the same. Y'all are still countries, but you have a shared visitation kind of thing. Whereas if I go to Canada, they can deny me. They can say, no, you can't go to Canada. Even if I'm just driving through, they can say, no, it's their prerogative. So we don't have this, right to roam or right to travel that the EU would be. And I guess that would be the main difference. I would like to have that personally, but, it's not the world we live in. If I were to do a podcast, the themes would be whitewater rafting on Danny's stream of consciousness. Nice. And I'm not on board with your train of thought. Yes, there will also be humor, Danny, on my podcast because it's me. I mean, well, some people would claim that's not humor, but, there will always be me on me. Don't talk to me about Brandon's Live. I got picked for a U.S.-only price, but didn't get it. I saw that. That was sad. I felt bad. But hey, I mean, you did win. I mean, it's something. You just didn't get the prize. It basically knows about everything and performs better than humans on area of knowledge you choose. It seems the official announcement will come out sometime during 2025. You retracted 2 of your messages, though, so I'm not sure what the subject is. This is not an incremental progress, Scott. We're entering a new territory in machine. What is it? Oh, let's see here. I think it kept him here. Basically knows about everything and performs better than humans on any area of knowledge you choose. So there's still problems, though. And we haven't reached that. And all of my high-techy, knowledgeable people have told me that they still have not come anywhere close to getting there. And that is overcoming AI's inability to not know what it doesn't know. That, as humans, our best thing is we don't know what we don't know. Now, we all know this. Some of us don't like to practice that. We don't participate. I'm not saying me, but I'm just saying, as society, there are people that will tell you what they don't know. They will say, oh, absolutely, this is the case, but they don't actually know. But that person is making that choice to say that they do know, but they actually don't know. AI does not know that choice. It does not know what it doesn't know. So the hallucinations, now they're calling, what is it? The Google, or no, it's not Google, it's the OpenAI. Their ChatGPT is manipulating it's lying to avoid certain things. I call it manipulation. That is honestly about an 18-month-old child. The moment a child can stall so they don't have to go to bed, that's when their brain is starting to function. But a child at 18 months does not know what it does not know. It doesn't know that it does not know what it doesn't know. Let's put it that way. So whatever's happening in AI, which is, there's always something new happening, it still has not progressed to the point where it is real enough. And here's the big problem. If you put rules on AI, you cannot ever get the truth. I don't care what side of the equation of whatever it is. If there is a rule that it must follow, then at some point the truth will be affected. And so now we're in a HAL 9000. What happens if it's asked to lie? Danny says, in Canada, provinces are much more primary in relation to the national government. In the U.S., it's a popular misconception to think of states as administrative units of the federal government. That's correct. States are not administrative units of the federal government. States are their own thing, and they have all the power to dictate for their states, except what expressly the U.S. government has power over, which is an interesting thing. And the Constitution was rather weird. Sorry to go into all that. The Constitution basically states, here is the government, and it is only authorized to do these things and nothing more. But we have progressed in the U.S. to allow the government to do a whole lot more than that. It's a little bit weird. Ruben says the EU could do the same. They've made everyone use bottle caps that stay on bottles, no plastic straws, and soon balloons. Soon you won't be able to buy diesel cars, which is totally weird, Ruben. I was just reading the diesel emissions requirements for the U.S. for 2027, I think it is. Right now, the diesel requirements make diesel vehicles cleaner than gas, and their requirements makes absolutely no sense to me that you would apply it so strictly on one, but not the other, or vice versa. Diesel is wrong, or Ruben, my opinion, it is wrong to ban diesel. Diesel is a very efficient engine. It's far more efficient than gasoline. It is also a very slow turning engine, which allows it to be a longer lasting engine. There are plenty of ways to keep it clean and keep the black soot is the biggest problem with diesel, and that's been blocked. I mean, you put particulate filters on there, it's gone. It is a good engine. I mean, there are no gasoline trains out there. They are diesel electric. Now there are some just straight electric, and yeah, they're pretty good too. But I don't. To me, a diesel electric unit in a car would be one of the most efficient uses of cars to overcome battery limitations. You put a little tiny diesel engine, a little tiny diesel tank, and a little tiny generator, and just let it, and it just charges your battery so you have more range. And I think Mercedes did that. Well, it was gasoline, but yeah. I like diesel. I think diesel is a smart thing. I hope to at least get some of them digital prices. Yeah, on digital products. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. About AI, I was reading that some new developments of something I believe is called artificial superintelligence. There is no question that AI has extraordinary intelligence in what it's been fed. If you feed it everything and you ask any questions, it can do really well at getting those answers for you, which is that's a lot of what intelligence is. Sorry, I wanted to click on something to see something here. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I don't get 150 like Brandon's live stream does. Man. Let's see. Super intelligence. So the thing with the thing, it goes back to, it's only as intelligent as the information it's fed and the limits to which it is given. Now, what I have always stated for AI will become something truly remarkable for society when it can generate architectural drawings. So I can go to it and say, I have a bridge, or I have a stream that I need to cross. The heaviest vehicle I am going to ever put on it weighs 20,000 pounds. It spans 40 feet. I have this kind of soil at the end. I need the cheapest way to build a passage across it. AI, when it gets to that point, will be able to tell you all of that, and then tell you, okay, you're building it out of wood, you need to cut 47 pieces of lumber this long, 32 pieces this long, that kind of thing. Same thing with, I have 100, that's horrible. I have 500 square feet, or 30 square meters, would that be somewhere around there? I want you to design the most efficient floor plan of a house for a family of 4 that doesn't use the kitchen much, or something like that. When AI can do that, things are going to change. Also, you may go and you say, okay, I've got this DJI mic and I've got this microphone, this magnet that goes on here. I would like to store this magnet on the side of my DJI case. And you tell that to AI. AI generates a 3D drawing. You go and 3D print it. Away you go. When this happens, and this is the point that they don't want anything for free. This is where they really want the money. When it starts creating things, but to be able for it to solve in 3D space and be able to give you a 3D file, that's when I think society changes with AI for a good kind of thing. I had another point to that, the development of something, artificial superintelligence. It still is limited by, well, okay, so that's where I was going. It is still going to be a reference. So AI can only reference its models to generate something new. So it can never really generate something new, but it can adapt to something. So it could generate a new product that doesn't exist, but it would be generating a pocket for a magnet that goes onto the side of a referenced DJI mic case. That's what it can do, and that's fine for that. Where AI will be a problem is quantum computing. And Google just said they've got their new super quantum chip, which is like many, many levels above others. But apparently there's somebody else that has one that's really, really powerful. They just haven't told, which is, we'll see. But my point being, AI is only as good as its input of things, references. Quantum generates new things, and it generates 1,000 of them at the same time. If you feed quantum into AI, you have now generated new things for reference that don't exist at an extraordinary rate. And that is where I worry about the future at that point, because that's when you can achieve an artificial intelligence that can act as sentient and make decisions as sentient. Then he says, not knowing what we don't know is not limited to 18-month-olds. What we know is finite. What we don't know is infinite. This is true. My point is that we as humans recognize that we don't know something. Somebody says 4,000 times 22,000. Well, we don't know it off. We could get there, but we don't know it. So we know we don't know it, and we have to then go get the knowledge. An 18-month-old does not know that they don't know it, and so they try everything. That's where the stall to go to bed comes from, is they're trying everything and they're mimicking everything that they see, but they don't know that they don't know that. Diesel bands. We live in times where conclusions come first and facts are massaged. This is true too, Danny. I agree with you there. We in the I don't want to be too out there. Let's just say that when it comes to research papers, many people are encouraged to come up with a topic, come up with the answer, and then write the research paper. Same thing. There are documentaries that are done this way, and I don't like them. We should be getting bias out of everything that we can if we want people to believe it's unbiased. I have no problem with bias. Everybody has bias. I drink from a red cup. I prefer the red cup. My wife has the clear ones. I don't like to drink from the clear ones. I have a bias towards the red cup. It's just a thing. But I'm not pretending. I'm not saying I'm unbiased towards clear cups. I just like red cups, mostly because of my OCD and I'm used to it. To me, it doesn't make sense as well, but I think most hybrids are petroleum, and that's why they started with diesel, but eventually all non-electric cars will be forbidden for sure. Well, it's like this. In America, they said everything's going to be electric by this time and date. Well, the people don't want that. And we know the people don't want that now. Everybody thought they might achieve it. Some flat out knew that it wasn't going to happen. But people stopped buying the electric cars. When all the manufacturers, they all jump in knowing, hey, we're being told we must, so we're going to do what we must. So they start creating electric cars. And then the people don't buy them. And they don't buy them for very strange reasons all over the place. It's irrelevant. The only relevance is people have a choice between an expensive gasoline vehicle and a more expensive electric vehicle, or a more expensive gas vehicle and a less expensive electric vehicle, but the gas vehicle could do more. That is what a consumer is. If you regulate the consumer out, what what where's your innovation going to come from? Right now, with electric cars, they're cool. I would own one in several situations, but in all of the situations that I live in and I will live in, there is no way an electric vehicle with any technology that we have currently will work for me. Period. It's just not possible. Um, and so that shuts that door. So are you going to say I can't drive? You know, that doesn't work. So it is kind of the putting the cart before the horse. You told everybody in America you had to do it. The manufacturers can't sell the electric vehicles now. There is a plethora of electric vehicle options out there. And there's some really good ones. There's some really utilitarian ones, and there's some really overpriced bad ones. But they're not selling any of them. They're selling a tiny percentage of it, and they're losing their rear ends on it. So what is the point of that? Q. Diesel hybrid would be very efficient. There's a reason that, you know, trains that go across the country, we're not talking about the EU where you have much smaller areas where electric really does work well for that. But here, where we have no electric in many, many areas, diesel electric is the only efficient way to get stuff across. You can't do it electric. It's not possible. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways. Diesel hybrid I think it'd be really cool. I'm just annoyed. I could get I can get the iPhone mirroring as I would use it so much. You can't get, somehow it goes under the Apple AI ban? Oh, interesting. Oh, you can't have mirror, interesting. This new AI apparently could do something similar. It will take a bit more time to be realized for the public, but it was differently than current models. I mean, the real problems we're going to have is when AI can fool AI. Let's just say we have a little country called Greenland. No. Country A and Country B, and they don't like each other. Country A and Country B both use AI to protect their borders. Country B uses AI to give Country A's AI protection a visual that doesn't exist, kind of like Whopper in the movie War Games. I mean, that was basically extrapolation. This is none of this is new. Everybody knew that this would happen. Same thing with HAL 9000. You just extrapolate. You can easily find out it all happens. But when you can take AI and have it fool this AI, and then all things start happening without anybody actually knowing why, that's the problem. Probably because time of day. Why you don't get a larger audience? I used to get a really large audience. I think when I stopped having guests on, and then started skipping video views or videos. I mean, I think it's 100% my fault. I don't see any other way. Because I would get hundreds and hundreds of. We had 900 at one point. I think that was the Komodo X one. We had 400 on Mark Toya. I mean, we had a lot of people on. And it was always this time of day. Granted, it was a different time in the world where, COVID was gave people a lot of time to do things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to switch because I feel like it's my spot, but I don't know. Who knows? I think AI agents will make AI mainstream and more than chatbot. Yes, yes, I think so too. Basically, it thinks instead of predicting what would be the most likely order of words like the current ones. Yeah, we need a we need a we need a paradigm shift in that. I'll give you an example. I played with the three big AIs and basically told it my jokes. So when I do my videos, I throw in like little jokes and little one-liners in there. And 50% of the time, they are literally off the cuff. They're just off the cuff, kind of like on Brandon Washington's live stream with Santa Claus. Santa Claus was just acting off the cuff. But other times, I come up with it while I'm writing my scripts. So I fed a bunch of my little humor lines to all the major AIs and asked it to basically map out my sense of humor. And then I asked it to generate a couple of jokes that I would say. No, it completely does not get my sense of humor. And it goes to show you, even though I fed it a bunch of my humor isn't simple. I guess humor itself is not necessarily simple in that, Carlos, you could say one thing and I could catch a word from Ruman's comment below it, and then I would just say something funny, or not funny at all, based upon that. And that is how my humor works. But it doesn't know that. It's not mapping my humor process. It's merely mapping the results. And the results were pretty bad jokes, like not even close to as bad as mine. Ruben says, the moments we mix quantum with AI, we will either face our extinction or progress with speed we can't imagine. I firmly believe it will be some form of extinction at some way, because there is no purpose for us in a AI world or in a artificial intelligence world. We're inefficient. I'm good. Nancy Pelosi is heavily invested in NVIDIA, so they may have something cooking. Yeah, there's like a stock trend, I think, that tracks what Congress people invest in, and then they invest in it, and they're all doing really well, apparently. Go figure. Danny says, in science, string theory is apparently string along theory. See, that's humor. But that one, did you come up with that, Danny, or did you have AI come up with that one? Because that one's along that line of like, I don't know if that qualifies as a joke. I don't know. I'm biased towards red myself. I am too. I am very biased towards what I am comfortable with. I like red. Red does a really good job at what I need it to do. Elimination of theory. Saw a clip where Elon Musk, where he said, vehicle range is a function of the capacity of the human bladder. Well, yeah, hold on. Yes, you can recharge within the duration of a bathroom break. I do find it interesting, and I've joked this many times over the last 20 plus years, in that the more efficient a vehicle is, the more fuel economy it gets, the smaller the gas tank. It always happens to be, and it's the most annoying thing on the planet. Because if I drove a Prius and I was getting 55 miles per gallon, give me a frickin' 30-gallon fuel tank and I'll fill up once every 3 years, you know, that kind of thing. The reason that they do it, though, is they all kind of have in their brain 400 to 500 miles is an acceptable range. And if we can achieve that, then we don't need to go further. And so they shrink the gas tank. By shrinking the gas tank, they shrink the weight, and it makes the vehicle lighter, which makes it more fuel efficient. It's self-fulfilling self-fulfilling no, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, philosophy. Where it got me angry was in pickup trucks. Pickup trucks are designed for towing. Granted, most people don't tow with them, but that's what they're designed for. You used to have these 29-gallon fuel tanks in pickup trucks, in diesel trucks. And then they said, oh, we got to have the diesel exhaust fluid in there. So they take 5 gallons for that. But they don't just add a 5-gallon tank. They took 5 gallons away from the 29-gallon fuel tank. So now you had less range. That's all fine and dandy, except you needed the range. The whole point is when you're towing, you don't get a 400-mile range. You get about 200. And yeah, it was always a pain in the rear. But yeah, it is amazing how the bladder is probably that. However, if you have a cool van and you have a toilet in the back, yeah, changes all that dynamic. Dude, I sold my Tesla because winter kills battery range. Exactly. Think about me, Carlos, in Alaska. My range would need to be sufficient to get someplace and get back. And I'm planning on being far from that place. Add in winter, and then add in my off the grid. I don't have a huge electric battery bank for my planned home in Alaska. It will, in fact, be about 1/3 the size of a Tesla battery. So I can't charge a Tesla. I can't charge a Kia or anything in the middle of nowhere. I would have to come up with such a huge solar array, and then it still wouldn't matter, because in order to charge, I would have to have the batteries at temperature. And when it's negative 10 degrees outside, that requires a lot of electricity. Yeah, it just won't work for me under no conditions ever. The future of Tesla is not so much as a car company, but the success is radically improved battery systems. It's so much more than that, Danny. I was literally just talking about that with my nephew at Christmas. He used to work for GM, and he's like a brainiac that works with that kind of stuff. And I said, isn't it totally hilarious that Tesla is worth more than all the other car companies combined? I mean, to a point, it's something like that. And you could look at it and say, well, it's a car company, but it's not. It is so much more. Yes, they do electricity, they do battery systems, but they do AI. They do their own processors. They design their own CPUs and such. They're a technology company. They're kind of like what IBM was before they just became patents, and BASF and all those others. They're kind of like a think tank that also makes cars, also makes batteries and such. So yeah, there's a reason they are, but it is true that the future of Tesla is not cars. The future of Tesla is solving problems with technology, like their robot. I mean, their robot is not a car. It's solving a problem with technology. Ruben says, oh my God, when you read back my comment and I see my spelling mistakes, I want to hit it. Dude, I can't spell for anything. So I got no sympathy for you. You put it out there for the world. The subject of the chat didn't appear on there, so you understand what it was all about. Copy. It basically knows about everything and performs better than humans on any area of knowledge you choose. It seems that the official announcement will come sometime in 2025. Okay, well, we'll have to see. This is not incremental progress. We're entering new territory of machine intelligence. I mean, my question will be right off the bat, can we achieve faster than the speed of light travel? And if it answers no, then the answer to that is it is not intelligent thinking. It is limited thinking, because we're only limited by what Einstein limited based upon the knowledge that's there. And that is also an interesting conversation, science, kind of like why I want to do a podcast, just where I can talk like this. We are stuck right now. We are stuck as a full Earth society from the 40s and 50s. We have not advanced beyond the 40s and 50s. And we've advanced here and there, but not really. All of our laws of physics stopped being found in the 40s and 50s. We didn't solve everything, and not everything is correct. So it'll be interesting to see if it can answer, can we go faster than the speed of light? And, if it says yes, then I'll say, cool. If I'm traveling twice the speed of light away from planet Earth and I turn on my radio, will everything play backwards? And we'll see how it does. Then he says, extinction in an AI world. With humans deprecated, the environment won't matter. So AI will keep us around to shovel coal for electricity generation. No, honestly, AI would constantly be bettering itself and making itself more efficient. It would certainly learn to put giant solar arrays in space and beam it down with microwaves. I mean, that's where it is. And in space, you're going to get a very high efficiency for photovoltaic. Yep. And that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. On trucks, getting full-size fuel tanks is an upgrade. Why? I don't know. It is so annoying. You can get 36-gallon now only after everybody yelled. And then on top of that, if you wanted a larger one, you can't get a larger gas tank because the federal government says you can only have the gas tank that it was designed with. Why? I'll give you another thing. So Toyota makes a Toyota Hilux. It is a pickup truck that costs like $12,000. I think it does in countries that are not the EU and not America and not Australia. Basically, I guess second world order country, whatever. You can buy that truck there. It has good emissions. It's very clean. But what it doesn't have is mandatory door beam crash guards. It doesn't have mandatory airbags that are for every single occupant and every single cocoon around you. It doesn't have mandatory backup cameras. It doesn't have mandatory crash avoidance and blah, blah, blah. All of these things are things that as humans, we should be able to choose if we wish. If I don't want side impact airbags, why can't that be my choice? Why do I have to have a $50,000 car or truck that I can have for $12,000? All I need is to be able to go somewhere efficiently. That's all I need. Why do I need more than that? That is that putting the cart before the horse, or here's a problem with a solution, looking for a solution. And quite honestly, it kind of makes me wonder if somebody owns like the patent to a backup camera and they want these mandates. It's that kind of stuff that makes me really sad, because I am intelligent enough to choose what I feel like is safe. And you know what? let me choose. And if people say, well, but some people can't afford to choose, so they need it mandatory. No. If it's mandatory, then you should have to ban every vehicle that exists, period, that doesn't have the minimum requirements. And we're not doing that. You know why we're not doing that? Well, we're not doing it here. Maybe they're doing it in some other countries, but you're not doing it because the people won't stand for it. Okay, let's see here. The link. I got you. Okay, yeah. So here it is again. Without the link. OpenAI just released a new model that scored. Oh, yes. No, I know this one. General intelligence. Yeah, it does. There's quite a few caveats to that. Go read. All the AI people like to talk to each other. They all are very supportive of each other, but there's some big in that OpenAI model. We are blind. We don't know what's out there either. It's true. We have no idea what's out there because we don't have the desire to go out there. Carlos, thank you so much. What's your choice as the best cameras of 2024? All right. My choice for the best cameras, I had written down my notes. Depends on the class of camera. But I will say that the Osmo Action 5 from the bottom is a really good action camera. It is miles above GoPro in that GoPro keeps coming out with the same camera with a minor revision each time. And this one, I don't buy every version. I skip several, but this one is fantastic. So GoPro, DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. I don't know why it has such a long name. Really good camera there. Okay, so we're going to go up from there. What came out in 2024? So, yeah, the Nikon Z6 Mark III gets to go in there. The R5 Mark II gets to go in there, and I will talk about each of these here in just briefly. The A1 Mark II gets to go in there, and it does solve one of the big complaints. The R1, in that middle road, I would say that the A1 Mark II probably outdoes the others by a little bit because we're stretching a little bit each way. As we advance massive amounts of work, gains us a little bit each way at this point. The R5 to the R5 II, they're not huge improvements. Some would say they are, but ultimately they're not. You gained an extra % in capability. And the same thing with the A1 Mark II over the A1. The A1 was really a good camera, really good dynamic range. It was a little noisy, and it had very slow autofocus, and the A1 II fixes both of those. That makes the A1 Mark II pretty good, and it does highlights really well. The R5 Mark II is a good camera. I would probably give the nod to the A1 Mark II on that one. And the reason I don't give it to like the Z6 Mark III, and there's a few others to mention in there, but the Z6 III is not what I would call a high resolution camera. It's 24 megapixels. It is a lot of resolution, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we need to be in the 40 plus megapixel for advancements, because if you can do it there, you can do it in below. Above that there's two well, we'll throw we'll throw we'll throw well in the I'm going to mention these cameras in no particular order, and then I'll give you my overall. But I believe Blackmagic with their Pixus has done a pretty good thing. It is not the answer to everything, and I don't believe they were trying to make it the answer to everything, but it did answer a lot of people's things. I think the next version of that one will basically be knocking it out of the park. But it did give a really nice sensor. As I reviewed that, the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K, not the Pocket. I don't know why people were getting all in the Pocket. That sensor is the exact same sensor that is in the Pixus, and it produces a different level of dynamic range image. It's still 13 stops, but like in that Blackmagic video I did, the review of that camera, what it could do in the highlights is what Blackmagic could not do before in their 13 stop sensors. So I think the Pixus deserves to be in a monumental space. Now, their 12K camera is pretty good, and I think it deserves quite a bit of accolades. The Arri 265, I believe it deserves accolades for being something pretty good. And the V-Raptor X has deserving of accolades. Let's go through those. The 12K cinema camera from Blackmagic, and I still have problems with them saying it. They keep marketing it as a 12K camera, and it is not a 12K camera. And now it has been tested. CVP did a really good job testing it and showed it is not 12K. They didn't say it. Just look at it. And they did kind of allude to looking at the other cameras at the resolutions. And what you have is a better than 4K camera. But it's a good camera. It's got a really good sensor. The sensor does do some really good stuff with dynamic range. It looks good. It just doesn't have 12K. It doesn't have 8K worth of resolution. It does have more than 4K of resolution. And that's why when you look at 4K to 8K, there's a difference. But when you look at 8 to 12, there's no difference. Look at it really, really close. But that being said, that camera is doing some great things. And it's doing it at pretty good resolutions and frame rates that match with that. Now, I'm not talking about the 12K at 200 or whatever it is, 100. It's more than the V-Raptor X, except it's not. So if you can't shoot the resolution, then it doesn't matter if the frame rate and the resolution are higher. At 4K, it does pretty good stuff. So that is my statement on that. But I've also said many, many times, we're not needing 8K cameras. We are using 8K cameras to deliver fantastic 4K. And they have a greater than 4K 12K camera, and their 17K camera happens to, when you work out the math, work out somewhere in the 7 to 8K region. I think 6 to 8K, somewhere in there. I think it's closer to 8. Large format. And what that tells you when it comes to resolution, you don't necessarily need more than about 8K of resolution anymore. And we've all seen it with Venice 2, with V-Raptor X, with V-Raptors, with Venice. You've got these 8K cameras, the A1, and we're not really exceeding it. We're not going beyond, because we don't necessarily need it. thus stepping in the new Arri, the new larger than their 65 millimeter camera. Basically, they're 265, and it is not a 12K or 18K monster. It is a relatively reasonable megapixel sensor that is huge, and it's going to do some amazing things, proving that we're in a really good spot for capabilities and such. Now, it was interesting that they decided to use the old sensor in the new 265. Thought that was interesting. Which leads back to the VRaptor X. VRaptor was already a really special camera. VRaptor has more dynamic range than all of those other cameras, period. There is no question. When you properly test it, when you shoot the camera for the lighting that you need, or for which side or which end of the spectrum you need, highlights or shadows, when you set the camera up to shoot what you need, the dynamic range is way better than anyone else. But if you just set it to 800 ISO and you compare it to everybody else at 800 ISO, it's not a fair comparison. And you can do the same thing with Blackmagic cameras, but you don't necessarily get more dynamic range out of them. Add in the extended highlights, add in the 8K, and let's be honest, the Venice 2 8K sensor, which is 8.6, is sharper than the VRaptor. It has more resolution. It has over a K, a whole K of resolution, and it makes it sharper. Not necessarily better, unless you want the sharp. But VRaptor does all of this with a global shutter. Sorry, VRaptor X with a global shutter. And there is nothing that touches that. Now, I saw a bunch of names pop up here, and I want to get to these names. Are we heading towards the matrix of the AR future? I don't know. Could be. VW makes an electric minivan, and the American version is larger and has 2 extra seats. Why can't we get that as well? I don't know. Why does everybody know what we want except us? We free countries, you're right. I mean, the consumer knows what they want to buy. The Hilux is considered a large car here, and rarely you'll find bigger. Wow. If they track everything, they can sell your driving habits to insurance. They already do it. GM, I think it was, got caught selling to LexisNexis without permission. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this because there's some people working on developing a DOM in AI, and I think there's necessary condition to develop more sophisticated human-like machine intelligence. That's true. Let's see here. The A1 does not have slow autofocus. It was leading. Did I say slow? I didn't mean slow. What I meant was it wasn't the really good AI fast autofocus. It had really good autofocus. We used it on many commercials and really liked it for its autofocus. It was just a little noisy, but it was 8K. We just cleaned that right up, no problem. Lumix will be interesting in 2025. I was always a Betacam guy in the 80s, the component video, Ikegami HL79, all paired with the Ampex Betacam SP external deck. Not many people alive, remember. Actually, I was following along there. Phil, hey Phil, Happy New Year, Phil. I'd say my top 2 motion picture cams of 2024 are Red VRaptor X and the Blackmagic 12K Ursa LF. With some frustrating reservations, Arri's new 265 is notable, but I'll dive in more next year. Cool. Okay. Well, we actually mirror quite a bit there. I learn a lot from Phil. So, content. The R5 II is a big improvement over the R5. Way better for photos and autofocus. Upgrade for video, but I'm on the fence. Way more than a small percent. You didn't try the R5 II. I played with footage from it. I have not tried it. I still don't get the highlights that I want out of the Canon sensor. Yeah, that's the big holdup. And I've compared the R5, R5C, R5 Mark II, and could not get what I want out of that. The A1 has slow autofocus. Then what do other cameras have during that time? Yeah, I think I either misspoke or misheard. 100% with what Phil is saying. Yep. Phil, mirrorless wise, R5 had some great updates and crazy autofocus. Yeah, the eye tracking autofocus is really cool. R1 is very cool. The R1 is a great sports photographer, sports camera, and should be. I mean, you don't need that high resolution for that necessarily. Sony A1 II is more of a product refresh. Yeah, but it fixed the things that I beefed with. It's a notable release, but I want a new Z8 update. Really, I would agree with that. I think that would be pretty good. Those of us who paid the premium for Flipicon tubes think the V-Raptor is a bargain. Let's see here. Blackmagic is great at marketing spin, and their images and colors continue to improve. Yes, and that's what I say. People always say, "Oh, you just trash Blackmagic." No, I'm honest, and I was unimpressed with a lot of what they were doing for a while. I am impressed with what they're doing now. I love where they're heading, and I love what they're doing. And my biggest complaint is just that they're marketing it as a 12K camera. If they would just market it as whatever resolution camera it is, and then tell them, oh, but we have all these extra photo sites for this, and this, then let the people decide. But don't market it as a 12K camera, because it is not. Please tell us about your frustrating reservations with the Blackmagic 12K Ursa City LF. That would be interesting. Maybe size, weight, ergonomics. Oops, did I miss one? It just zoomed right past. There we go. Oops, there we go. I would love to know more about the Red Airy Tron camera. Yes. It's probably a little more simple than we would all like to think. Fellow said, takes lots of little quibbles using it as a production body, really loathe where the media is and how to access it. Camera body isn't exactly a joy. It's noisier image than I'd like. I think that's just, yeah, the noise is them just dealing with dynamic range. I hear you on the media, Phil. I do laugh at all the Blackmagic people who made fun of Red back when Red had their own proprietary media, and now Blackmagic's doing it. That being said, I defended Red, and I will defend Blackmagic here for their decision because of why they're doing it. And I love what they're doing in that their media is so fast, it's fast enough for the DIT colorist to go in and grab and color the files on the camera and do everything and send it up to the editor, all while it's being used. There's so much to that media. It's kind of amazing where they're with their Blackmagic Cloud and abilities very soon. They'll be able to connect to the camera the other direction and give what the director wants to see in real time. Meanwhile, it's cutting proxies and popping it up to the editor, kind of like we're all doing with Reds and a lot of these other cameras. But it's going to do that all in the storage that is on there. So you could end up at some point where all the copies have been made and the DIT is kind of useless, but so I lose more money. With my Raptor X, all I want is 2 more Raptor X's and then the kit I will retire with. I hear you. Canon R5C firmware makes me regret selling it. Interesting. What did you think about the A1 video quality? I thought the A1 video quality looked really good at 8K, but it was noisy. Like I said, we used it on several commercials, and we shot it at 8K, except for the slow-mo stuff. And we really were impressed, especially when you take 8K down to 4K and then you put a little denoise on it. It was great. I thought it was a very, very impressive camera. It was just out of my price range, oddly enough. Saw a video this week where they crucified the C400 on dynamic range and noise. I didn't see that one. I'd be interested in seeing that one. What's the biggest flop camera of 2024? Hmm. Uh, I am having difficulty thinking. I don't follow negative cameras too much, so it's like, throw some out there. Spark my brain because I'm not drawing any negatives. I'm not a big follower of Panasonic, so I don't know what they did or didn't. And I mean, I would say that one camera that everybody was talking about a couple weeks ago that ended up just being a take your Blackmagic camera and rehouse it. That's kind of a flop. But there weren't that many cameras released, in my opinion. There were only like 6 or 7. I don't know. Oh, the GoPro would be a flop. That'd be a huge flop. Whoops. Zoomed right past old Phil. Phil, I was going to invite you on, but I figured you would be relaxing, so I didn't want to hit you up. And here you are on the live stream. I appreciate it. I'm fine with Blackmagic using custom media type. My issue is hiding behind the LCD door, making it. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Blackmagic does love those pop-out LCDs. They're big into that. Not as bad as that first 12-inch one there, the 10-inch. My beef with the V-Raptor is the lack of lens corrections on RF glass. Well, there's a reason for that. My beef, Danny, is not with Red on that. My beef is with Canon on that. And I do not believe we should be using digital processing to screw with optical designs. And I would say it's kind of a sucky thing that they're leaning on it so heavily now. And Canon is not just giving Red, oh, here's our code base, have fun. They have to figure it all out. And if I were Red, I wouldn't want to follow all of those lenses and try to come up with some kind of that, because that's not raw. When you start manipulating the image, it's not raw. And that's not good. Phil says that it's really my biggest quibble with the Canon this year is deploying lenses that okay, there. Man, that sounds like I'm just reading Phil's in advance. But I can't see it. I literally can't. I only get like 3 comments is all I can see. Biggest flop happens to be the Pentax film. Did they come out with one? Huh. Z9 with shutter angle is not. It was a nice little update, but fairly little. Hey, I was getting a haircut for the first hour of the stream. Canon FD or Leica R lenses. They're both equally good for completely different reasons. They both have different feels, but I would throw Mamiya in there. Throw some Mamiya. I'd put Mamiya, Leica, and Canon FDs in there. I dig all those for that nice creamy, flary, bloomy look. The rehouse Blackmagic might not be a flop. It's a flop. If they deliver what they say, nope, because they had to come out and admit that the price point that they gave was just the kit. You still have to buy the camera, and it is not a small or insignificant uh, modification that you have to do. It takes many, many hours to do, and there's significant risk of damage. So yeah, not great. The video had a zoom in 600% to complain about it. I had to zoom in. Oh, that video had to, okay, interesting. Lucas says, Danny, C400 video was from Jake Hayden. Let's see. Canon RF glass lens correction is a wall garden thing. Let's see what's coming up here. I'm just waiting for the questions to show back up. Okay, there we go. I heard Canon is not stingy with sharing lens correction data, but it's a pain to implement in firmware. It takes up firmware engineers' time. It takes up resources, and it takes up space in their firmware. And on top of that, what do we believe the percentage is of Raptor X users using Canon glass as their primary? We use all kinds of glass on there. We might stick a couple on there, but I think it's definitely better for Red to spend time on other things. Who messaging me? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, let's see here. Oh, in that case, big flop. I am. Oh, you don't like the Mamiyas. Interesting. Maybe that changed after the Nikon acquisition. Well, we do know. Well, okay. If you're Nikon, are you going to be spending time putting in Canon information into your Red company? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. I want to see City Glass for mirrorless mounts other than Sony. There's lots of them. There's lots of RF City Glass out there. There's not lots of Z, but you can get quite a bit of City Glass for Sony. But I kind of like City Glass being designed for PL, because PL I can adapt to everything, and I do like that. I find that very universal, so to speak. I don't think I've ever seen Phil with a haircut. Oh, one time I saw you with a haircut, Phil. You got it buzzed quite short. Oh yeah. Let's see here. What other things did I have on there? Oh yeah, Phil, did you miss the first part where I was talking about the Netflix exec telling screenwriters to have characters announce what they're doing so that viewers who have a program on in the background can follow along? What do you think about that one, Phil? Let's see. Lighting. In the world of lighting, I think we're in a really spectacular place of lighting, in that we have a whole bunch of new technology coming shortly and has just recently come out. We have options for every budget that is quite good and capable. And I'm excited for like the Blair engine and what others are soon doing. So I think we're in a good place for light. I can get the A1 for the same price as the R5 II and $1,000 less than the Z9. Which camera would you go with? Shoot photos and videos. I need the best. I mean, A1 versus R5 II. Whoops, just shot ahead there. A1 versus R5 II versus Z9. So those are actually fairly Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd probably pass on the A1 uh, just because the other two are a little bit newer. The A1's going to have a little slightly better dynamic range than the Z9, but not much. I mean, really, you got to choose between the R52 and the Z9. The Z9 is a little mature out there, so I would expect it to be replaced at some point in the future. Um, so really, between those three, I mean, I would look at the Z9 versus the R52, but I mean, the Z8, I would look at the Z8 and the R52. I would probably, if I was comparing Z8 and the R52, I would probably give up uh, the stop and dynamic range on the R52, mostly because it doesn't solve my dynamic range issue, and go with the Z8 because the Z8 has every codec shooting option you could possibly desire in there, and it's a very capable camera, 8K RAW, 60 FPS. Yeah, I would look towards the Z8, mostly because the Z9 is a bigger camera. But that's my opinion. You should definitely choose what best suits you, not necessarily what I say. Which PL glass is currently your favorite? Ooh, I can't say favorite. I have favorites. I have glass that I really love shooting with. Um, I like the Takeda Vistas. I like the Airy Signatures. I like I, the Cook Anamorphics. I like the Irix lenses for affordability, and I like the Nisi lenses for affordability. I have not played with the Arls yet. Um, the Vespids are nice. I do tend to like the Nisis and the Irix above those. Uh, but that's kind of a smattering out there. There's a lot. I like Sigmas because they're super, super sharp. Uh, yeah, a lot. Uh, Phil, cries and awful content ideas. The real goal is to make compelling content that people will want to watch and focus on. Yes. My analogy was, so you want to make old time radio. So just make old time radio. Some of these ideas, maybe you don't think they work in a visual way, then save that money and just get some voiceover artists and some sound effects and make some radio stuff that people can play in the background. I would be absolutely ticked as a director, and my actors are being required to say, "Oh, I'm entering this room." That would just drive me bonkers. What are your thoughts on the Arls glass? I haven't played with them yet. I can. I just haven't asked for them yet. They look interesting. I've seen some good stuff from it, and I saw some interesting weird flaring from them, which I thought was interesting, and I just saw that yesterday. So, and same question for Phil Holland. Between Z6 III and Lumix S5 2X, which would you recommend, or maybe something else in the price range? I don't have a lot of hands-on. I don't have any hands-on actually on the Lumix S5. Only what I've seen. Um, I don't know. I the Z6 has a few quirks that are being addressed, so I believe that a lot of that will be overcome. Um, and I would say that the Z6 III is actually a pretty good camera. On the Lumix, I can't really say because I don't have too much information. I don't spend a lot of time. Lumix kind of lost me when they sold off their sensor division and or closed it up. Really, that kind of I've stopped following for a lot of reasons. Phil says RLs are pretty nice for the price, really, and a complete set focal lengths. There's better glass out there at slightly more advanced price, but very good effort by DZO this year. Interesting. How did you think of flaring on that, Phil? Because I saw it was one of the wider focal lengths. I don't remember right offhand. There was like a green, like a just forest green flare that happened off of it that did not match anything else. Yeah, that one kind of threw me. Lucas says, looking for a full frame 35 millimeter IS stabilized lens for my Raptor. At Q, you have the 35 RF 1.8. So full frame 35 image stabilized lens. Is the 35 image stabilized? I know there was some quirkiness about it. I know Phil had some thoughts on that 35. Which PL glass would you recommend a first cinema lens set? Nisi, Vespid. If you're full frame, you should consider the Arls. Irix is really good. The negative is they still don't have a full lineup. That's going to hold it back just slightly, but they're super sharp and budget friendly. PL, yeah, and that's PL gets you there. Jacob, yo, I just drove back from Burbank and scored a K-Pod and Hercules 2.0 with wheels for $500. I'm so freaking pumped. That is a serious heavy-duty tripod, and that tripod head is pretty freaking serious as well. Just unbelievable. Wow, that is good. Glad you're streaming so I can brag live. Phil, I want a Zeiss Otis set over the Arls. Yeah, Otis would be nice if they ever finish that, but they will never, ever finish it. I think Sony Burano was the biggest flop camera of 2024. Sony Burano came out before then, did it not? Was it 2023? Use of mirrorless sensor A1 on a cinema camera and lack of high frame rates. There were so many problems with the Burano. Price was the biggest one. I think price got in the way. And I think that was Sony thinking they could get it. Not compelling color science has a video broadcasting look out of the box. Well, so does the Venice 2. Lack of open gate, presence of IBIS, compromises, proper cooling, heights, frame rates. I still think that camera, when was that released? I thought it was like December of 2023. Sony Burano release date. Oh, it was this year. Wow. Okay. Well, we have a contender. We have a contender for Syntex. Thank you. I think if their price was half, I think the complaints would be unrealized. Not unjustified, but unrealized. Yeah. I am interested to see what Sony will do next. Yep, I'd say the flare is a little wild on the Arls, but that's to be expected really at this price point. Fair enough. There is an EF35 and a F2 full frame, and also an RF18 is macro full frame. Look at the 35 from Canon has a terrible focus mechanism. The lens extends and retracts. Well, that's definitely, yeah, I don't like telescoping lenses at all. And I'm paying the price for that dearly on my 100 to 500. Oof. That thing pumps so much and it sucked in a whole bunch of dust, and man, I got to figure out how to clean it. Phil says the rest of the Otis set ended up purely used in the Supreme lineup. The 28, 55, 85, and 100 are fantastic. The 21 and 40 were all that were needed. A 65 nearly was planned as well. So sad. It is so sad. Yeah, if Otis were to have had 5 lenses, I would have said, excuse me, sorry. I've been looking for a heavy-duty tripod with a new fast deploy. I know you did review the Suri one, but the Tilta recently released one, slightly more expensive, but looks more sturdy. So I have played with the Tilta one slightly. Phil got to play with it a little bit without the handle. It was definitely fun for Phil. I really like what Tilta is doing, and I do plan on getting one for review because I was impressed with what they were building. It looked very good. The Suri one is really good. It's very nice, and for $400, it's a steal. It really is. The Tilta one is built a little bit better, and it's going to cost you. But yeah, that's rapid deploy. I like Gene a lot, but I really don't like the Potato Jet rapid deploy. I do like the active the tripod. Why can I think my brain's not working? Probably from the headache. The Active 8, whatever it is, the Rumen. I've been looking for heavy duty. Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Okay, sorry. Danny says, it would be great to get Eric back on as a guest. Motion control goes hot and cold so far as filmmaking fads go, but Kessler stuff is always rock solid. I'm happy to have Eric on there. I'll reach out to him, see if he'd like to join. It's I'm gonna have him on if he wants to be on because I love my boy. Thanks. There we go. What did I miss? Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The answer to the question. Got it. Is the headache gone? Whiskey always helps. It is not gone. I feel it. It's like right here. It's pushing in. But I mean, the more I talk and the happier I laugh and all that, the less I think about it, which is good. So y'all are doing a good thing. It is interesting, Carlos, because now we have a whole lot more people on. You're talking about the time slot. That is so interesting. I think I need to go a little later. That's weird. Huh. Jed, hello, Jed. What's up? Anyone buy the Blackmagic 65? I don't think it's for sale yet. Take the Filmmaker. Does Scotty switch to Blackmagic as he seemed to like Pixels? I would like to own one of those two cameras. I will have to wait a little bit before that happens. I'm not buying new cameras at the moment, but I was really impressed with that sensor, especially for the money. And I kind of like both of the designs. I think the Cinema Camera 6K is a little more on the portable side compared to the Pixis. And I can use it right off the bat. So probably the one I might go with, but we would see. I do like them. HBP, I am looking for a relatively modern and straightforward PL set lens that isn't too clinical. Do you have any ideas? Too clinical. Clinical. So, 3 to 5 per lens. There's a lot you can look at there, HBP. Modern and straightforward PL set. Look at the DCs, look at the Arls, look at the Vespids, look at the that's PL. Yeah, PL knocks out the IRIX. The only thing I would say about the IRIX is when you say too clinical, they start to cross into that clinical barrier. They have some interesting flair and interesting bokeh, but they're very sharp. And I would kind of think they would start to fall into that area. I also would say that Nisi, you need to audition. They are very sharp as well. They do have some character to them, which I did like a lot, but they are sharp. Uh, and sharp is clinical. So, I mean, maybe the Arls is something to look at, or the Vespids. I mean, the Vespids you can get a whole bunch of those for less money. Uh, Blackmagic 65 seems to be the game changer as it really has got a big sensor size with notorious Blackmagic City look, similar to Ari, though I think the Blackmagic algorithms are easier to color grade. Um, I don't know. You're kind of dealing. I think the Ari. Yeah, I mean, I can see with the Gen 5 stuff on Blackmagic, it is a lot easier. I would put them kind of the same as far as ease of that. What I would say, no, you're actually going to be dealing with about the same data rates. You get to compress on Blackmagic, where Airy Raw does not compress. Yeah, it should be about the same. um, Jarrell, what's up? How are you, man? Good live. This y'all had so many more people, man. Y'all became like the cool Friday show, and now I'm just like this last little guy at the end. It's like, good to have you on, man. HBP, I'm looking for relatively. Wait, you said that already. Did it repeat? Pixis will sell like hotcakes, but there's an older sensor for sure. Yes, but a lot of institutional folks, the camera ticks a lot of boxes. Yes, I firmly believe, Phil, when they come out with version 2 of Pixis 2, maybe they spell it with an extra I, just put the 2 in the middle. Ooh, marketing. Blackmagic is good. When they do that one and it ticks up 15 plus stops of dynamic range in a full frame sensor with an OLPF, and they're going to sell it, say, for another $1,000 on top. I think Blackmagic will have officially entered the winner's circle for a camera that will be one for the history books. Let's put it that way. It will sell like Komodos. Let's say it that way. Hey, Art. Thoughts or experience on Takina Vista Peas? I haven't played with the Vista Peas. And there's a couple of other flavors out there I'm most interested in finding out more about. From what I know of the Vista Peas, they are they're the Vistas with what maybe Phil could better explain it, but I believe they are taking some of the parts of what some modifiers are doing, and they're just doing it from the factory, is the way I understand it. So if you like some of the bigger, expensive versions of the Takina Vistas, then I think that checks the box. I advise highly affordable Nisi Athena lenses for FX3 or any camera, as they are of Cook look. I don't think. I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, I'm not the end all be all judge of Cook look for sure. I do like the Cook look though. I heard they were discontinuing the classic Cooks, man. Let's see here. Just quickly, how does Mysterium X Epic compare to Dragon? Oh man, Dragon blows Mysterium away. Like I said, I was dragging my feet on Red for a long time, and Dragon is what made me go because it is such a step up. It's like 3 stops of dynamic range, better, plus, and it more resolution and cleaner and way better in skin tones. Just absolutely gorgeous. I'll get my hands on that Cine Optics ultra wide rainbow flare lens this upcoming year. Oh my lord, I love that lens. 8 millimeters. It can see tomorrow. Thank you, brother. People come to you for wisdom. Appreciate it. Who's your favorite DOP of all time? I I I don't have a favorite. I'm so bad at names. On top of that, um, I yeah. So let me just type it in because I can't get the names out. It's so bad. Okay, yeah. So the standard ones, Deacons, I definitely do. I do like Hoyt. Um, let's see who are all these others. Um, yeah. Mm, 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 uh, uh, Jeff Cronenweth. Uh, yes. I was looking for some. I can't. Hmm. Yeah, that was an interesting list. That's yeah, tough one. Tough one for me because I'm so bad at names I don't remember. I remember directors far more than I remember names of DPs. Um, I'm just looking at this list. No, no. I do like Deakins. I think Deakins does a good job, but I mean, I like and Hoyt. Yep. I liked Kubrick. Uh, a lot of that work that's done with him. Let's see. No, 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 no. Bradford. Yeah, I like Bradford Young, but I don't like Bradford Young. He lights so dark, and it just I I really don't like that. I feel like the story can be told with a little more light, but I think he does really nice detail work. Mm, yeah. Um, and then I would have to put in here uh, Vilmos Sigmund. I don't remember his name, but he was the DP for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is my absolute favorite of all time uh, visually inspiring movies. Exactly. B-RAW and ARRI-RAW have different data sizes and bit rate and mathematics behind the 17 seems to be so great. Well, the 17 will produce about a 7K, 8K actual image. Um, I'll take a little more drink. Drink. Okay. Listen, text Phil, do you have the chance to try noise cancellation in post on the Blackmagic? Did it eliminate the noise in a way that's satisfactory, or the results not satisfactory? Phil says, I'll stand by. The only lenses that have the Cook look is the S4 primes. I do like the S4s. And aren't those what they just canceled? Takeda Vistas are good on Arri Mini, but not tried the other cameras. Vistas are great. I know the Vistas, and I love the Vista ones, but the Vista Ps are slightly altered. I agree. Cook S4 was amazing. not all Cooke lenses have the Cooke look. That's kind of true. Phil says, yes, noise reduction will help satisfactory or not. That's the question for you, really. Image processing is touchy. Subject and a lot deeper for some than others. This is true. Yes, Jeff is nice. Yes. Let's see here. Hot take. I don't hate the vintage stop sign bokeh. It doesn't need to be perfectly round for me. How about you? Actually, I don't mind it. I actually like it a lot so I can figure out which lenses they're using. I think there's a time and a place for them all. I think sci-fi benefits from less iris blades. I think I like having points to my bokeh in a sci-fi. But there's also times when big circular bokeh is really nice in sci-fi too. But I would definitely prefer the circular in a rom-com or anything like that, or drama. Conrad Hall. I gotta spark the brain. He did. Well, that's the. Give me actual information, people. Don't. American Beauty. Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, he's good. I will give him that. I was going through that list, trying to find something that I'd seen recently that I could think about, and like American Beauty, I did enjoy quite a bit. I thought it was quite nicely done. Yep, on Vimos. There we go. Vimos. S4 feels like an italicized Cooke look. Favorite DOP, long list, but one of the best online classes I ever attended was Gail Tattersall. Let's look that one up. I like Dean Kundi, but I don't think Dean Kundi, I don't think he has like a signature look is the thing. I think he does really good work, but I don't think it's his signature look. Gail Tattersall. Let's look this up. He was cinematographer on... Not much that I had ever seen. Atlas Shrugged. Interesting. That movie was so hard to watch because they kept changing all the actors to all of them. Lost at Sea, Art of the Impossible. He did House, 120 episodes. I never watched House. I might be weird. For me, oh wait. Yeah, okay. Carlos, echo your perspective on the S4s. The Pain Crows. Yep. Cooke is end of lifing the S4 after many years. Typically, lens companies these days will support optics for about 15 years. Cooke found something fantastic with the S4 primes that inspired me. Yeah, and they're not full frame, so probably part of the issue. Renwell does fantastic work in the cinema and even music video land. The new Tron is going to be nuts. Yes. In so many ways. S4 mini primes are like $3,000 each. Crazy good price. Yeah, but they're not crazy the same look. Was again RF to EF adapter vignettes on 24? That's on our Raptor. That's a question for Phil. Do you know that one, Phil? I have S35. I've used the R5 II and A1 so far. To me, the A1 is a better camera, but Sony Color is just weird. Sony Color is very video. It's, it's colorful. It's sharp. It's nice. The aesthetic tone really helps, I think. but Sony has a very specific look. And it is very video to me. I don't find it bad, but in some places I don't find it cinematic. I would use it in a car commercial, but I wouldn't want to use it in roll-on deodorant. The classic paint grows feel like cook looks, and then the S4 is for accenting. Dean Kundi really became a go-to blockbuster guy, yeah. Iconic cinema from The Thing to Jurassic Park, great guy. He is a very nice guy. Talked to him many times now. Sometime he'll probably remember. Yeah, really nice guy. And he is a wealth of knowledge and loves sharing it. He's pretty good at that. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, the Customtron XLs. Let's see. Give me that articulation of the Cook look to express emotion. Carlos, have you watched Silo? Oh, I like Silo a lot. And their color and style, I love it. I tell people Silo is basically that, what was the video game movie that just came out that everybody liked? It's that minus the zombies. And I like it so much better. Silo is really good. It can be a little dark at times as far as like the lighting, but I dig all of it. I'm so into Silo. They just got picked up for season 3 and season 4, and now I'm scared because anytime you have these types of shows, when they write the show, they know the ending at the beginning of season 1. And they have enough story for a couple of seasons, but they don't know how long they have to tell the story. So when they get picked up for a season 3 and season 4, then they start doing backstories. They start doing flashbacks and all kinds of stuff because they need to fill in the time because they have the ending. It's kind of like Lost. The plane crashed and they died. They just didn't know how long to tell the story. And that's, yeah, I do like Silo. I like it a lot. I also like Landman. Man, Landman is cracking me up because it is like, it's every one of my relatives from West Texas. They nailed the characters. Billy Bob Thornton just nails it. Yeah, it is, but it's very sharp. You can tell Sony. You really tell Sony. Frank, hello Frank. What's up, Scat? Watched Nosferatu last night and loved it. Loved the look, and I haven't looked up what they used yet. I don't know. It would be interesting to find out. I wonder if it's out there yet. Phil, I love nuancing color science quibbles online this year. Lots of love and hate for various companies. Many thoughts on this, but it's a deep topic. Sounds like, Phil, you need to come on to a live stream sometime so we can just kind of have all these long, drawn-out conversations. Sony A1 is 100% video. Silo really is an impressive series. Glad Apple are keeping it going, hopefully for better. Yeah, I hope so. What I don't like, and fortunately now they're starting to fix that, I did not like where we flip episodes telling stories. So we're telling this story and we flip and we tell this other story in the next episode, which means the story that you're really interested in gets no love for a whole episode. That's not interesting. I don't like that. They are solving that a little bit right now. Hopefully they don't go back to that because, young one, the lighting or the grade, those scenes are a lot brighter than the color suggests. Oh, I can imagine. Now, if you're referring to Bradford or if you're referring to, yeah, it depends on who you're referring to. Apple TV has so many good series. I wonder how I didn't know. Apple TV has got some really nice series. They also have some really blah shows as well. Speaking of zombies, who saw Arcane Season 2 beyond episode 2 and 3? Then 35 millimeter with airy cams. There you go. So there it is. Does the Z9 have a better video image compared to the A1? No. Well, okay, so there is ever so slightly more dynamic range on the A1 over the Z8, Z9. You lose your dynamic range with the Z8 compared to the Z8 and Z9 are identical in every way except for the body size, which allows for better cooling on the Z9 and for extra battery. Other than that, they are identical in every way. So it's about a half a stop-ish, half to one stop difference in dynamic range between the Z8, Z9 and the A1. The Z8, Z9 is a little cleaner than the A1 as far as noise, I would say. Not a whole lot, but a little cleaner. But you can shoot Z8 and Z9 8K 60 raw internal, and you can't do that on the A1. You can also shoot it in ProRes. You could shoot it in H.265, H.264. You could shoot it anything you want on the Z8, Z9. They are tons of versatile in there. Kind of an amazing camera. It really is. Don't spoil Silo, please. Oh, I don't think I said anything. All I said was storylines. They flip storylines. Oh, we're here, over here. Yep. Episode, they release it weekly. It's based on the book, so there is more in the book they didn't show us that might be able to do good in season 3. Okay, well, then that's fine. I only gave away Lost. And if you hadn't seen Lost now, that's not my problem. That's it's Silo is good. I do enjoy it. I hope that it has places to go. I have not read the books. I'm also kind of excited for the Harry Potter series. I hope that they do what they said and they're going to follow the books. And if they follow the books and they give us almost word for word, don't throw any director's choice, just follow the books. We're going to have like 70 episodes of a series that are going to be incredible. Alrighty then. Where are we? Wow, we're at the end. We're at the end. Man, I hit all the. I want to find some DPs. I was rewatching Ozark. I do like Ozark, but Ozark loses me at a point too, where they kind of go off the deep end a little bit. Jacob says, question mark? Did I spoil Lost for you? Harry Potter shows? Oh, yes. So the writer of the Harry Potter books is in, I think, almost complete and total control of the series for HBO. And they are doing 10-part series for each book. And supposedly they're going to follow it like they're supposed to. So I have high hopes for that. I don't think it will replace the Harry Potter movies. I think it should be a side-by-side stand on its own. I think we did great with our characters on the movies, and I think we could do just fine with characters on the other. If we go by the book, it will make it so much better. My opinion. It sounded like episode 7, season 1, but I meant it's season 2. We just get every Friday. Do you have the full season? No, they release them once a week as well. Let's go. The Last of Us is also great with awesome colors. I don't think I've seen The Last of Us at all. So maybe I'll have to put that on my list. Oh my God. Millennials roll out. Let's see. Let's see if I can find any details. I know they're in casting right now. Where's the new? Let's see if I can find info on it. So it's not to release until 2026. Darn it. I was hoping we would get it starting to roll in 2025. Yeah, deadline, let's see. I think it would be fun if they brought in some of the original people, original cast, and had them as other characters, just random. I think that'd be a fun homage to play, but I don't think there should be anything to do it. They don't have to have anything to do with it. It's not required. Yep. It's all part of Warner Brothers streaming. I don't see any more on it. Whoa. I must have missed a whole bunch of comments I say here. But wasn't there a race swap on Snape, which got people? I mean, people get mad about all kinds of things. Here's my take on it, and it has nothing to do with race at all. But if you write a book and you describe somebody, you've described them. I mean, you just did. It's the way it is. And you're going to have a problem if you change it. If Snape had been another race in the book, no one would have said anything with that. Now, if they'd have swapped him, let's just say he was black in the book and they swapped him to white. Yeah, they would complain just as much because people are used to what they're used to. Now, Snape is also tough too because his character was so well played on the movies that people are going to have bias on what they think it should be, and I don't know who should play Snape. But I have a firm belief if you write a book and you're going to do a movie adaptation, just stick with the book. If you didn't describe, if nowhere did it describe Snape, then it could be whatever, and that'd be fine. But I'm pretty sure they described Snape as a pasty white, or I don't know, something. I'm trying to remember what they described him as with black, jet black hair of greasiness or something like that. Yeah, it would. That's my opinion. If it's the only thing that happens, and whoever it is plays Snape, fine, people will get over it. But I do think if you describe it in a book and you're going to go by the book, then go by the book. That's just my opinion. What do you think about this low contrast muted desaturated HDR look at modern movies? I don't care for it. I've found recently that some of my exports weren't even flagging right on my videos and giving that flat look, and I was like, dadgummit, because we're going to change things a little bit on 2025, and we've invested in some color grading and some color accuracy here. I just got my my Blackmagic Ultra Studio Extreme 4K Extreme, so I'm working. Got OLED going on. We're working on calibrations now. Yeah, not a fan of the flat look. I'm also not a fan of the lifted blacks. The full saturation and contrast with lifted blacks. I don't like that. Just that bottom is just all gray. It's like, no. I want an actual ugly Hermione. I don't think Hermione was ever ugly. I think the way it was described was she was messy. If they had cast her differently. I mean, there's several actresses I could say could play a Hermione very well. Um, I don't think she should be a knockdown, beauty pageant contestant. But I mean, it would be quite normal for them to take a knockdown, drag out beauty contestant and mess them up so that they, I guess the kids would say a hot mess, um, so that they can reveal later. I don't know. I actually don't have any. I don't have any thoughts on who should be what or what have you. I kind of want it to be a fresh take at it following the book. I want the characters to match, though. Like, if you have long, dark hair, then you can't be blonde. Sorry. It's just the way it is. You can't be bald either. That kind of thing. Um, I'll be in Hawaii for my birthday. When's your birthday? It would be awesome if you could join me and maybe even Phil on a live show 23rd of January. Well, I would join you. Is your birthday on the 23rd of January, Carlos? We discussed this, didn't we? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Is that your birthday? Because I have something to say about that. HBP, I hate the low contrast look like Gladiator 2. Oh yeah, I tell you another look I don't like, is the Marvel look, the cartoonish look, the let's destroy the realism to make it look cartoonish so that we can do VFX for cheap. I do not like that at all. I don't think, to be honest, he is described as white, so I'm not sure it would bother me, but the guy they want is just too handsome. I mean, if you hot mess him, then it's fine. I mean, to me, right off the bat, a Snape would be, what's his name from Star Wars 7. That would be a really good Snape. But that Snape is literally a clone of the classic Snape. And I'm okay with it being a little different. Mess him up. That's fine. The fact Snape felt Slytherin in all his snitchitude is perfect. Absolute perfection. It'll never be beat. Let's see if we can find out how. Oh, let's do some AI. Let's find out, how is Professor Snape described in appearance in the book? There we go. We'll see what that says. I mean, that's what AI is made for. All right. In the book, Severus Snape is described with several distinctive physical characteristics. Hair. He has greasy, shoulder-length black hair. His eyes are black. Complexion. His skin is sallow, giving him a somewhat unhealthy or yellowish appearance. Snape has a hooked nose, which adds to his severe look. And then demeanor. So they did describe him as unhealthy. I remember him being like extremely pale or lifeless or something like that in the books. It's been a while. I like the audiobooks. Read by Jim Dale. Why do you think that DPs go for that muted flat? It's not DPs. It's almost always the production making that decision for them. Yeah. Hit me up near the 23rd, Carlos. There you go. I guess they all love the film emulation. Yeah. Sith Snape. Yep, my birthday. Well, Carlos, my birthday is January 22nd. Do that as you may. we're really close. It'll be funny if we're born in the same year. I don't think we are, though. I think you're younger than I am. It would be funny. If we were born in the same year, I'm older than you, and you have to do what I say. Yeah. Okay. There's a hair on There's a hair in my hat that can't. There it goes. It's when you move real fast. You can see it. I gotta get it off there. Alrighty then. So, all right. Who's got some last minute questions, comments, thoughts, all those good things? I'll just wait. So let's see. I wonder. Okay, let's see. How? Ooh, I'm not going to be able to spell. Was Hermione described in the books? I remember her being described as mangled, messy hair, matted. She was like not clumsy, but shrewd or what have you. It was described as hair. She has bushy brown hair, which is often described as somewhat unruly or frizzy. Eyes. Hermione has very bright, keen, and observant brown eyes that are often noted for their intelligence and intensity. Her skin is described as pale or fair. She is of average height, not particularly noted for being tall or short. Her build is not a focal point. She's neither particularly thin nor heavy. Hermione is often seen with books in hand, reflecting her love for learning. Her attire is usually practical rather than fashionable. Yep, so there. All right. Harmony. That's see. Feral Syntax question for Scott, Phil, or anybody else on the discussion on resolution. What is the difference between sharpness and detail? The recent CVP comparison apparently showed the Blackmagic 12K. Oops, going to the next one. Was less sharp, resolving with line pairs on the chart than the Burano and the V-Raptor. But Burano and V-Raptor showed color artifacts in those res charts that were not present on the City 12K. Continued, yes. So even if I understand Scott when he says that it doesn't produce a 12K image, I consider its footage very detailed. So I don't know if cinema camera is that important. Well, there's points on that too. To rank first on sharpness as it is measured on charts in cinema, detail seems to be more important, but how do you define it? As a pleasant sharpness? I don't think sharpness has any place in any film. And did I say sharp? I probably was using the word sharp and resolution. But there is more detail in V-Raptor. There is more detail in Venice 2 over V-Raptor. And there is more sharpness, which has to do with the pixel or the photosite pitch. Let's see what the rest, the perception of three-dimensionality of the image. There should be less subjective way of referring to it. Your thoughts on the V-Raptor with more artifacts, color artifacts. Yes, that is the case, as would appear on a raw image. I'm older than you, Carlos. I'm older than you are by a day. I just saw your text pop up. There's a whole lot to it. I bet Phil could explain these super details. You can have a camera that captures a tremendous amount of detail but not produce a sharp image. For instance, I would like for him to, Phil, if you could apply a camera sensor to each of these talking points that you are describing so we can have reference. Diffraction is the biggest problem on the 12K, as 2.9 microns is pretty small pixel pitch, which makes the window for sharpness thin, essentially. We are, Carlos. I was born the same year. Sharpness can be ugly, but I have more hair. The sharpness can be ugly if over-sharpened and producing. Yes, yeah. Sharpness can only be like a small percentage, and then it just starts, it shows bad. I agree with that. Interestingly, A somewhat softer image with decent resolving powers becomes cinematic in most people's eyes, as it is a wee bit closer to film. I agree with that too. Oh no, I'm out of philisms. I need some more philisms. 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 Yeah, Carlos and I are exactly 1 day apart. 1 day apart. And I am older. What time were you born, Carlos? I was born at 6:14 p.m. So we'll see what time you were born. We'll see just exactly how much older I am. You got to do what I say now. It's the law. Let's see here. It's a deep subject, but you'll see a lot of colorists soften sharp footage or sharpen soft footage to taste, depending on the look desired. Yes. I would say if you shoot 8K on 8 or 12K on 8 or 12K, finishing on a 4K timeline with the Blackmagic 12K, I don't think you're going to want to soften it. I don't think you're going to want to sharpen it. I think on V-Raptor, I don't think you're going to. You might sharpen it, but you might not. You're not going to soften it. The Venice 2, I think you're going to soften it a lot. I think you probably have already put filtration on the front just to soften it a bit. The Burano, I think you're going to soften it. The A1, you're going to soften it. The A1 II, you're going to soften it. The Aries, you're not really going to soften those. You're not going to sharpen them either. They're kind of in that perfect 4K area. Although I will say the Alexa 35 did come across as fairly sharp on the feature we did. But for that feature, I don't think I would soften it any. It wasn't near as sharp as a Venice 2, that's for sure. I generally produce detailed imagery. Oh, this is true, he does. Without going into bananas over sharpening, but I do want texture to feel right. Yes. Philippe? Hello, Scott. You turn a red camera with true 12K. True 12. You turn a red. I'm not sure if you want to restate that. I'm not sure what that means with true. You turn a red camera with true 12K. There isn't one right now. Scott's shirt, for instance, holds no texture in this live stream. That's because I'm startling. But we know it's orange and cotton. It's actually faded red. That's funny. It does look. See, that's the that is the Module 8 tuner in there doing that. It throws a little bit of some color shift. Well, not color shift, but the way the flares make the color. We don't feel it lacks a fine texture. It may or may not be a good thing in my taste. Yeah, I hear you. Like some shirts have that like very fine like micro grooving in it, and yeah, you may or may not want that to show up. Haha, right at midnight, right after midnight. So, I'm just 6.5 hours older than you. Sorry, rules are rules there, Carlos. We must respect the rules. If we cannot respect the rules of a civilized society, then what do we have? How that gets into the encoding and codec insanity a bit, yep. But high quality imaging can reveal stunning layers of detail if desired. But you have control to also knock that back a bit. Plus, the OLPFs and what you do there can do that as well. if you want to knock down some of the mosaic that can occur, or any of that, or more mosaic moire, um, then yeah, OLPFs will soften it some bit, and that could be desirable by some. Let's see if Phil gets there. I was just channeling my inner Phil. Hey Chris, hey Scott, I've got Speed Booster on my Komodo. I like the look, but I'm also considering a V&D adapter. Thoughts? Komodo or Komodo X? If it's Komodo, speed boosters are cool. Komodo X, you have to be very careful of the depth of that speed booster because there's black flocking around the Komodo X sensor as a kind of a shield, and those speed boosters can grind that away and put little dots everywhere. Oh wait, I had a agreed. Somebody agreed with the Canon sentiment on Instagram. I apologize, Pat, out there. Missed that one. Okay, so yeah. Considering a V&D adapter, I like the V&D adapters a lot. I like the Rex, really? I gotta get my dog while I talk. I like the Breakthrough V&D a lot. The Canon drop-in filter base is fine, but the Canon drop-in V&D is horrible. Some people like the Mofage. I've not been a fan of the Mofage myself, but yeah, it's totally cool. Does Module 8 tuners make lens lose a stop of light? Not a stop. I mean, they have to lose something because there's an element in there, a couple. But I barely noticed anything. So I would say, yeah, that's right. Rex hasn't been there the whole time, and I've had the empty carpet, but he will look at that. Look at that. He's like, I'm just going to, oh, okay. What are you doing? He wants some water. The modulates, you will lose a little bit of light, but it's nowhere near a stop. Maybe a third, if that much. You see a red camera with true 12K in 2025. I do not see a red camera with that. No, I do not, actually. There's your Rexy for everybody. Let me just, I'm going to try to boop. Boop. There we go. We booped a Rex. What is the future of cinema look? Sensors getting more accurate and dynamic range increases. What do you think, Scott? So the future, I think, is global shutter. I think more dynamic range. I think I mean, it's a it's a tough one because we're kind of getting there. I mean, what more could you do? I wouldn't mind seeing the larger formats out there, but it's kind of a fad. I think somewhere. I don't see us needing, unless something changes in how we view things, but I don't see us needing more than a 16K sensor, and I don't see us needing that for 5+ years. I think 20 stops of dynamic range with a global shutter and being able to get it easily is where we don't really need much more, because how far are we pushing that? I think the future of that will be, I say, film modeling, where you can model kind of like Fuji does with their film, their little digital cameras, where you get that film look on their JPEGs. If you could plug that in and get that kind of look where you get kind of like a virtual model, I think that would be something cool. But I think global shutter is something everybody needs to tackle now, and dynamic range. I don't think resolution is what people need to focus on. I think once you get to everybody's got 8K with good dynamic range and global shutter, then push it forward into the resolutions at that point. I mean, that's it. That's all I see. I yeah, I'm not a visionary of making things, uh, the future. I love how Phil accents the concept's art's illusion type of terms. It feels good. It helps bridge the concept of art, illustration. He used to be a teacher, so he did do that. Term taste. He has a way of doing that. But the standard resolution tests that measure resolving of X amount of line pairs per millimeter. What do they really measure? Sharpness or detail? Well, detail can be differential. Uh, Being able to say that this line does not exist, or this line exists, this line doesn't, and this one does, is sharpness. But being able to differentiate the color or the amount of contrast between them is kind of where your detail comes in my opinion. It'll be interesting. Phil will probably come back and go, actually, it's the other way. It seems like they measure sharpness in the sense that ultimately it is sharp, the image, really up to the observer. I mean, sharpness is like you feel the edge. You could define an edge. I mean, sharpness to me is when you turn on Edge Enhance on your monitor. And that feels, I mean, it's over sharp, and it's clearly not real, but it's that look that you're getting on sharpness, in my opinion. Thoughts on the RF to PL adapters? What are better option? Depends on what you want to do. I have the Breakthrough with a drop-in. That's their Cinema DFM. I also have their modular one where you can swap the backs. It doesn't have a drop-in filter. I really like that one because I used it literally on every single camera that I've had through here. Because you can put an E, you can put an RF, you can put L, and a Z all on the back, and you can have one PL that is perfect. It's nice. I mean, I like that. Other than that, I haven't used too many others. It would make no sense for Red to have a 12K. We know when a brand is compensating for the Bravo. All right, here's where Phil comes in. Actually, no, a fast sensor readout plus global shutter is going to be what professional rely on more and more. We already know that, really. Right now, we're seeing more format flexibility, much like we have with film. Yeah. Really, it's we're looking for dreams now that technology hasn't caught up with, I would say. Question for you, Phil Holland. Can we expect 20 plus steps of dynamic range? Well, I believe we will. I mean, there's no question. I mean, lower image noise, better detail across tonality, more color, and more dynamic range. We've now seen what 21 stops of dynamic range is with extended highlights. 2126 is really the golden zone. I mean, we can see, 30 stops with our eyes, but we can only see, is it 16 or 17 at a time, I think? Is that right, Phil? We can have 30 stops of dynamic range in our eyeballs. I don't know which way is the correct way to do that. But we, like middle gray, we have to slide our range, which is why we have to squint when the sun comes out, and we adapt, but we lose our definition in the shadows and vice versa. Probable more higher frame rate potential in the future. I don't know if frame rate is something that people are going to be searching for. Maybe. I always like frame rates, but then it'll be overused and no one will like it. Well, we see digital doubles integration with digital cinema cameras in the future where mix gets baked in. I want a cinema camera that allows one to draw over the readout, then transfer back to the camera. Draw. Well, so in a sense, Jacob, that's what the Blackmagic Ursa Cinema 12 and 17K will have in the future. You will have the ability for colorists to come in through from Hollywood directly into the back of your camera digitally on your footage and be able to apply something across the board in real time. That's coming. Once you have set it to Kina's, what is there to upgrade to? Oh, well, there's a lot. Different. There's no such thing as a bad lens, and taquinas aren't everything. They're good, really good, and they are probably the lens I would choose to have only one set. Stuck for life because they do a little bit of everything, but sometimes you want softer. Sometimes you want sharper. Sometimes you want that Cook look or anamorphic or, character or that really, really bloomy flare from a 70s Agenu lens or something, sometimes. Phil says, there are workflows where you can record a live digital double today, but you need a bit more hardware than just a camera. What's a drop-in adapter you recommend for going to EF lenses? Breakthrough is the VND. Breakthrough is, so if you're going from RF to EF, buy the Canon adapter and then buy the Breakthrough filters. They drop right in on that one. You don't need to just buy the polarizer one. You can't buy like the empty adapter. You have to buy it with either the polarizer or the VND. The polarizer is cheaper, so buy that one because the VND you're just going to throw away, and then just get the Breakthrough. I like that one. You could also look at the Mofage, but I didn't care for it myself. That is my opinion. If you're going from RF to EF, Phil says that at any given moment, you are seeing a maximum of 21, 24, 26 if you are a mutant. Call me not mutant. 21, 26. So it's about there. We have to slide. We have to slide ours. Speaking about our eye capacity to hold color information as well as monitors, are we going to go 32-bit? Ooh, I mean, at some point, I don't see why they wouldn't. Now, if you really want to screw with your brain, stare at something for a long period of time and watch the compression of your video storage in your eye. With the tunnel vision, you'll start to see everything pixelate. It's creepy. We are living in a matrix. Do you prefer RF lenses on Komodo OG for gimbal setups? If so, which lens is your go-to? I do like small, compact RF lenses on gimbal setups, but unless I'm locking focus, I'm not doing that because I'd be relying on autofocus on the Komodo OG, which is not awesome. It's good, but it's not awesome. But if I am relying on OGs, then I do like the little 16. GDU makes a version of it. That's it. That's the 16 there, and there's no focus on it at all. So you are relying on internal focus. It's a bit of a gamble with the Komodo OG just by the autofocus that it has and can do, but that 16 does really well on that Komodo, and it's super light. It's like silly light. Jacob, Wacom needs to work themselves into Blackmagic's workflow. So I can't do Wacom. I own 3 of them, Jacob. And I thought, maybe if I go bigger, maybe if I go newer, no, I still can't use a Wacom. It can't work in my brain. Taquita primes are 90% of every, yeah, that's kind of it, kind of the thing. I feel it definitely can be. Monitors go 12-bit next, then 14-bit. 16-bit is not out of the question, but we're a fair bit away from it. There are already 12-bit monitors in the world. It's true. Brightness, contrast on monitors is the tough one. With brightness, OLED provides the best contrast, but not necessarily the best brightness. However, with a new the OLED arrays that LG is putting on their G series OLEDs now, you're getting a little extra of that brightness too. In Phil's room. Yeah, right. Exactly right. Phil's just looking around the room going, oh, yeah, 12 bits around the world. And, totally guessing and making a joke and being serious at the same time. We do need higher bandwidth with better encoding as well as 8K for streaming, though. It's time and already exists elsewhere in the world. That's true. The U.S. is way behind on our video standards. Oof. Let's see how the Nikkor 28 to 135 f4 does. It's nice to see them make nice cine glass. Yep, indeed. Canon EF lenses perform best on OG Komodo, in my opinion. I don't disagree. Gives you the best of both worlds because you could drop a VND on there. We need more completion for Alexa 265 or go big or go home. Yeah, I thought it was wild that they went with the old sensor. MLA OLED is fantastic. Newer pattern QD OLED is also pretty good. Some of the new LED tech incoming shortly. Lots of amazing stuff happening in the display world. Awesome. Hey, everyone. It's been 3 hours and 12 minutes. I just wanted to go longer than Brandon. It's been a while. I have not eaten, and my headache is not going away, and I desperately want it to. So I am going to call it here quits. We'll see some new high-resolution monitors here shortly, too. Yes, but I hope they come in at a good price point because, golly. I mean, you can buy 4K TVs now for like $170. That just cracks me up. How about some 8Ks for $300? Here's $50. Give me some more. Have a great night and Happy New Year, Scott. Happy New Year, Phil, buddy. Here's to a great 2025. Yes, let's all be happy and working and going. Scott, let's go for 4 hours. Let's get some electrolytes. No, my headache is just, it's beating me. It's right here and it hasn't moved. And Rex is just like, poor Scott. Hello, Frank. Happy New Year, Frank. All right, everyone. I'm going to, whoops, there we go. Get some more in here. Hold on. Happy New Year's. Yep, Happy New Year, King. Feral Syntax. Oh, he's throwing a last minute 12-point question. Oh, here we go. Getting a more three-dimensional image with a single sensor camera should be a good target for the future. 3D pop feeling. I don't disagree with that. Jacob Winters win. Nice job beating out Brandon. Thanks for the stream. I appreciate it, Jacob. Feral Syntax continuing. You get that 3D feeling with improvements in detail. Rendering, not necessarily sharpness. Good color separation key, I think. Better dynamic range, natural highlight roll off, faster sensor readouts, speeds. Yep. New G7 Pro would make good positive improvements on daylight camera. Oops. Camera control, 7-inch monitors. Ooh. Is this coming? I haven't heard. I have not been poking any bears lately, just because. Working and listening. Thanks, Scott, and good luck with the realtors. Oh, yes. Thank you, Danny. Oh, yes. Realtors, always so fun. Okay, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful holidays, and I hope you have a fantastic New Year's. And spend it with someone you care about. Just laugh a little, have a good time, be safe, eat something delicious, and go out there and be creative. Find that creative spark. Let something guide you into the way you need to be. Really, Rex is, watch him as I start to end it. Watch his face. But do something amazing and something enjoyable, and let's make 2025 a fantastically great year. And remember to subscribe, tell all your friends, become a channel member if you want. Use the affiliate links down below. But please, please uninstall Honey. Honey is now the new devil, and we need to get rid of it because it's robbing all creators of their affiliate, which is honestly the truth. I watched my affiliate. I don't get a whole lot from affiliate stuff. I watched it go on Amazon from about $150 to $200 a month to about $5 a month now. And it's all due to Honey and ad blockers and that kind of stuff. But that being said, everyone have a wonderful, fantastic New Year's. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions. You ready to go, buddy? You ready? The time? No? All right. Bye, everybody. Okay, buddy. We're good. We're closing.